This table is the worst. I'm glad you guys ended up with it. What? The table.
Good afternoon.
We're engaging. Good afternoon. Hi, Carrie. Hi there.
Are you tired of me yet?
Never.
Thank you all for coming. For those of you that may not know, my name is Carrie Staub. I am Pam's eldest daughter. I am joined by my brother Jim and his lovely wife Leah, and James and Paul, my daughter Haley, and my sister Christine, and their lovely children Ashley and Andrew. And of course, my dad, the man of the hour. And we are surrounded by family and friends, and we are ever so grateful for all of you. Some special thanks. First and foremost, shout out to MOX, Meridian Medical Arts Charter High School, for allowing us to basically take over. So thank you to them tremendously. Thank you to the decorating committee, who did a phenomenal job. It absolutely took a village, and we are so grateful that you were part of ours. Because otherwise, Christine swore to me that she could do it all by herself. And I didn't want to put that kind of pressure on her, so. But yeah, Christine is the artiste, so all of these lovely centerpieces and things, I have to give credit to my sister, because yeah, that, absolutely, you deserve it. That was not the part that I got. So I can tape your ankle like in a flash, but creativity, not so much. Yeah. So for those of you who may not know, essentially my mom and I pretty much grew up together. She was not much older than I, and so life was always an adventure. Those of you that knew my mom knew that she could be a challenge and loved life. She loved her family. She loved crafts. So you will notice on your tables there are all kinds of little crafty things. Those came out of my mother's craft room. So you are welcome to take anything that speaks to you with you. The flowers, thank you to Michelle for navigating all of the beautiful floral arrangements. Those do have to stay because Chris has promised them to someone else for their wedding. So, yes, the vases, right? I'm just want to be clear. But there are tooth fairy pillows and little kitchen scrubbies, and my mom embroidered toilet paper, if you are so inclined. There's a couple of those out there. The cacti pin cushions, and thank you to Haley, because some of them were left unfinished, so Haley finished a bunch of them that Grandma taught her how to navigate, so we're grateful for you for doing that, sweetheart. Yeah, my mom was a very creative person. She was fiercely loyal, and I am very grateful for all of the lessons. All of the organization that I do carry with me, yeah, that came from Mom. Some of you know that. Including the Google Forms. Just saying. This is an effective way to organize information. We're always looking for those shortcuts. We loved traveling. Mom and Dad always made sure that we had a new adventure, whether we were going to the Gusts or the Leisures or the Crotties, wherever they ended up, all over the place. And so, or even back at our house, numerous reunions. We have the evidence. I know Dad's still got a box of VHS tapes of all of our misadventures. Whether it was Mom forgetting her purse on a rock on the side of a highway somewhere and having to turn around. Yes, see? Some of you remember that. That was always fun. Or us kids thinking it was the greatest thing on earth that we got to sleep on the chairs in the backyard because there wasn't enough space to house all the people that were at our family reunion in the summer. Or Dad bringing home watermelon that was a different color and we didn't know what to do with it, right? Because he had gotten it out in the fields from a farmer who was doing some experimentation on fruit salad. Yeah, bummer. We missed out on that watermelon because we weren't sure what it was. Yeah, so lots of awesome memories, and I'm just very grateful that I was able to be a part of it. And this is an opportunity for you to come and share some of your lovely memories or stories or anything that you would like. I know that several of you have noted that I might look a little like my mom. And so that's just a reminder to me that she is here with us, and I am grateful for that. So thank you all for all of your love and support all the time in any way and shape and form that you have offered it. It is immensely appreciated. And if there's anyone else who would like to come and take over, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, I will continually stare at you awkwardly. Michelle, to the rescue. Thank you.
You may not think so after I'm done.
Okay.
To lighten the mood and get everybody laughing, we had the pleasure of having the Crotty stop by a lot for vacation on their way up to Washington or on their way home. And we'd take the boat and go out to the lake, or they'd stay for a week. So between the kids kneeboarding or learning how to ski, we had this giant blow up that was a rocket. And so the goal was to go around part of Lake Shasta, in the little area, and not fall off. So Pam and I decided we can do this. So we're getting on this rocket. She goes, "You go first and I'll lay on top of you." Okay. So here I am straddling the front of this huge rocket. She's laying over me and we're trying to keep our balance. Whoops, it went out. So we're trying to keep our balance. And I leaned too far. No, this way. Anyway, we were the only ones that entire day that successfully made it all the way around and back to the boat without falling off. And it was due to Pam's navigating and her firm telling me what to do. That was my laugh moment.
This thing doesn't work?
I think she's getting some more batteries.
Is that what they're doing? Oh, can you guys all hear me? Okay. We'll say yes.
Here she comes.
Let's make sure it's on.
Make sure that you turn off.
I did just turn it on.
That is a master, my former principal, ladies and gentlemen.
Again, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I guess I don't know how to say this sometimes, but my friends down here, Jimmy and his wife and daughter, they knew Pam when she was 15 years old. They knew her almost before I did, because she kept coming to Jimmy's gas station to see me. So, as you well know, that worked out okay, but it was kind of a rocky start. And let's see, there's a couple friends over here from later in my life when I used to go watch them go to race. I loved drag racing. Jimmy started that, by the way. He also, I would have to work on Saturdays so he could go race, but that's all right. We'd go out in the evenings. But it was an interesting group of people. You all brought something special to our lives. Like Michelle said, there were a lot of grand vacations that we went on. They just happened to be halfway between the beginning and the end, and we'd go twice to see him, which was great. I've got relatives from Minnesota that we've had some grand times at John's place in Minnesota too. John is the brother of several people here. I'm not going to try to name names. He had a beautiful house up on Rainy Lake. The other side of the lake was Canada. And so we do a lot of strange things. I go to Canada when we weren't supposed to, and we learned how to do all kinds of fun stuff. And Pam was all part of it. She enjoyed it. She wanted to be there. She wanted to get out and see what was going on. And we did. For a while, we were into motorcycles. We'd go out to the desert. We had a camper, and we'd go out in the desert with the camper and the motorcycles, and we'd run around. I had a motorcycle. The kids had a three-wheeler, and they had to share. Carrie rode the motorcycle once. I don't know what she would tell you about that adventure, but
I was able to ride it more than once.
oh,
I will tell
okay.
you that.
I stand corrected. She must have liked it. Then. I don't know. But as we had more people come into our lives, we did more things, which worked out really nice. We had a grand time with all of the different stages in our life. The kids, I know, look forward to going out to the desert. They look forward to going to the lake. And they got a lot of opportunities they wouldn't have had we not been, I won't say adventurous, but we didn't like to stay home on the weekend. And I miss her for that. But I do want you to know that I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm glad you're here. And I'll make it. It's just going to take a little work and a little time. So if any of you, other of you have stories you'd like to tell or adventures that you can share, please do. Thank you.
Okay, Jim.
My name is Jimmy Eady, and I hired Jim Crotty in about 1965, and Pam used to come by and chase Jim, and he would hide underneath my desk to avoid her. And from what I remember, they double dated with somebody else. I don't know who the person was, but after they dated, I says, "What are you gonna marry this guy for?" You know? And she said he was a perfect gentleman. And since then, I've been to Idaho 4 times, in fact today 5 times. And Pam would make me my favorite meal, pecan waffles. And my wife said she spoiled me. But oh, mister, thank you.
Or further. There you go.
I'm not very good at this and not overly prepared or anything, but I couldn't get out of here after I heard about the waffles. Without saying biscuits and gravy. Who hasn't had Pam's biscuits and gravy? So every reunion, we look forward to the biscuits and gravy. And Jim and Pam were so very generous in hosting many, many of our Crotty family reunions, and I don't think we can ever thank them enough for all their generosity and time and effort and everything. And I used to think, gosh, Pam is so generous to put up with all of us Crotties. And, you know, I did thank her along the way, but one of the things she says, well, one of the things I like about it is because I get a lot done around the house before everybody comes. She put Jimmy to work, so, and Jim always was so good at all of that, so loving, wonderful family, and love to everyone here, and we will miss her. Thank you.
So, yes, those family reunions are awesome, although it's blazingly hot. I'll tell you that right now. And I still remember staying out in the trailer one time, and that didn't go well with my marriage, actually. However, the thing that strikes me as I was thinking about this, you know, Pam and I were basically the same age, right? We kind of grew up in a sense together, although Jim always looked a bit away, but so that's what comes to mind. I believe I was at your wedding. I think you had a blessing at church, and for some reason that's in my mind. I still remember that, but I can't put my hands all completely around it. I can't just kind of grab it. But one thing I came up to do is ask Jim a question, because what I have envisioned is Pam driving into the driveway in Wilmington in a yellow Pontiac, what was it, not a Bonneville, because I had the Bonneville, you had that Grand Prix, and I still remember her, you know, it's just a vision I have. When I think of Pam, that's what comes to mind. I can't even tell you why, except, of course, I love that Grand Prix. But it was absolutely, I tried to find if I had a picture of it, but I don't. We were taking slides at the time. Well, I think we take some, but I've never seen that yet. But that's what's in my mind. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. Truly, truly will miss Pam. And I'm hoping, Jim, you do get through this, and you get through it as quickly as you can, actually. So, God bless you.
So that was Tom, one of the brothers. I'm John, another brother. Robin was ahead of Tom, a sister. And when they talk about these family reunions, there are 65 grandchildren that showed up at his house sometimes with his brothers and sisters, which meant 10 of us and their spouses. So that house was pretty impacted. I now understand why Tom didn't always stay at the house. Probably was there the first time in the trailer and got smart, went to the air-conditioned hotel. But Pam was lovable, Pam was complicated, and Pam was direct. Sometimes there's a story that occurred before Pam passed away, and I didn't even know she was ill. But my sister, who has MS and isn't here today, and she's a couple years younger than I am, but her husband was kind of in crisis and could no longer take care of her. And I gave Jim and Pam a call 6 months, 7 months maybe, a year before she passed away, and asked him to leave Arizona to go take care of them. Well, little did I know, Pam was in treatment And they dropped everything, and Pam took charge of that house, including dealing with the hospital and getting my sister in a matter of a week into the hospital, out of the hospital, and into a care facility. And it never would have happened except that she doesn't take no for an answer. And so I will always remember that, and I thank you very much for taking me that. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you. And we'll continue to visit you even though she won't be there for spring training.
So I'm Jennifer Luria. I am her niece, but I'm also her goddaughter. I'm just going to tell you a few things that come to me that remind me of Pam. From a little girl, it was a big deal to have your godparents. And I know that originally my mom had asked a friend of hers to be my godmother, but at some point, my mom decided that it was supposed to be Jim and Pam together. And so Pam took on that role as well. And every year, just anytime I saw her, I just felt so good knowing that she was mine, right? She was my godmother. And some of the special things that I remember as a kid are the Crotty reunions, Bakersfield, sleeping out with the cousins, maybe in the garage, I think, at one point, outside, whatever it was. It was just a fantastic, just really precious time in my life. And then, you know, those of you that know me know that I have autistic children, and it's been a little bit of a rough road, but Jim and Pam have always, no matter what, reached out to me. And it's just meant so much to me as a mom, as their goddaughter. In fact, the pretzels, I wanted to share a story. My son, Jack, who's actually Jonathan, he will only eat one thing at a time, all the time. And so one day around Christmas, I decided I needed to make Auntie Pam's pretzels. So I did it, I got the recipe from my mom, and I made them, and I was so excited, and like, he wouldn't touch them, right? But finally one day, he said, okay, fine, just give it to me. So he ate it, and from that point on, that was the only thing he ate for like a few weeks. But to this day, Jack, I've taught Jack how to make them. I always have the materials available. And I've made that actually something that I make every holiday for his birthday. It's something very special, and that's because of Auntie Pam. And I'm so grateful for her, for both of you, for the whole family. And I'm going to remember her as this bigger than life lady who had a rock. Her laugh was so like loud and like, I don't know how you guys all know what I'm talking about, but she just would laugh and you would just know it was her. And I will never ever forget how special she was. And I just want to pour out my love to all of you as well, because I know we're all hurting. So thank you.
I might as well follow my daughter. I'm Jennifer's dad, and I'm married to Patty. And Pam and I had a very special relationship, I think. We were both very young when we were taken to meet Mom and Dad. Jimmy took Pam to meet Mom and Dad, and when Patty took me to meet Mom and Dad. And then there's the 9 siblings, frightening. But I was always very comfortable with Pam. I could sit and talk with her, and I'm not a social butterfly, most of you know that. But with Pam, I was just always very, very comfortable with her. The reunions, the July 4th reunions, will always be remembered by my entire family. And Tom, I'm not sure how you ended up outside, but Patty and I slept in Jim and Pam's bed. So. It's true, at least once. But yeah, Pam did not do anything halfway. Her biscuits and gravy, and this is coming from an Appalachian kid that had biscuits and gravy his entire life, and hers was the best, unequaled. And even if Pam made you a chicken salad sandwich, it was pretty deli special, right? Everything she did turned to gold. So anyway, I just want to thank Carrie, Christy, and Jimmy. I know you made a lot of sacrifices for those July 4th reunions, and thank you so much.
I didn't even cry at my dad's wedding.
Oh, shoot.
I'm Rhonda Leisure. Jim and my mom were two of the oldest cousins on the Crotty side of the family, so he was the cousin we always knew, and the cousin whose kids we were always with. When my dad had a stroke when he was 45, Pam, I think it took her less than 24 hours to get to us. And that was a really big deal because my mom needed her smoking partner. But before that, they were always smoking partners. And then when my dad did pass 30 years later, 27 years later, they were right there to Long John. And it was a really big deal. And because for us, they were just like our parents. They were just so special all the time. And we really appreciate that. And we love you guys. And I'm so sorry this happened. And I wish my mom could be here with you. Because I know that it would mean a lot to her. But it's just too physically hard for her to get here. But I'll make sure she knows we were here.
Try to follow this, John. I'm Jim. Here you go, Jim. This is John.
That was Jim. I'm John Price, and we have a long history with the Crotties. We were actually adopted by them. No, actually what happened was prior to us even having kids, we were married for about a year and a half or so. We bought a house, and we bought the house next door to Jim and Pam in Westminster. And here's a couple with no kids, and then a couple next door that had 3 kids. And we were in and out all the time. We were never home, it seemed like. We'll never forget this. There's a lot of different stories I'd love to tell you, but this one that got our relationship going was, like I said, we were 2 different lifestyles, family and a couple that, that was just a couple. And it was Christmas morning, and there's a knock on our door. And this little gal over here, Chrissy came to the store with her little stroller and her baby doll, and she was sharing what she got from Santa.
Oh.
And it was it kind of opened our eyes as far as, oh, we have people that live around us and things like that. Typical. I think it's gotten worse over the years, but it was just something that I think it was because of 2 different lifestyles, and we had a boat, and they had kids, and we thought we owned some property out of Canyon Lake. For people who are from Southern California know roughly where that's at, and so we go out there almost every weekend, and we had a blast. We got to camp out there. We had a good time, and I can just remember that we would have the evenings, and the kids got to play and they got to do their thing. They fished off the dock with a little string and hook and catching fish without bait, and but we would be around that time, and they would go to bed, and then Pam would be up all night long. It seemed like we were up till 11, 12 o'clock at night. But the next morning it was a little rough and stuff as far as that stuff goes. But we had there's a lot of good memories from that summer. We did a lot of stuff together, and it really formed a relationship that never, it never diminished. The thing that I feel the most about it is that we ended up buying another house almost exactly a year later out in Riverside, and then they bought a house in Huntington Beach, and even though we were that distance apart, we always kept together and everything. Well, when we had our kids, they became our kids' godparents. So my daughter Kelly and our daughter Kelly and our son Brett, that's who they are. And we've been, like I said, we've been adopted. We've been to the Crotty, a few of the Crotty reunions, and I know Tom. We slept in the living room, so. But we have many, many stories, and the only other story I'd really like to share with you is one that was later in life, and that was Michelle's. No, it was not. It wasn't the 60th. But remember, we had that houseboat.
It was my 60th birthday.
No, this was a different one. Let me share this one because it was a last-minute thing. We got another houseboat, and we decided, okay, and we called them and we said, come on, we got the houseboat for the weekend or 4 days or whatever. Well, later in life, Pam was not one to share bedrooms with everybody, So anyway, when we were in this houseboat, it was all open. So we slept on one side and everybody sleeping on the other. There's people all over and stuff. And so I can remember that response because she was a real trooper to go through all that. And but she loved to get to do that kind of stuff, and she really enjoyed it. So, but that was a later in life one that she. It was a lot of fun. So anyway, we'll miss her a lot. It was a special relationship we had over those years, and you look back at how it happened, and you go, how did this happen? How did that? We had nothing in common at that point. So anyway.
Try again. That was good, because I'll piggyback off a little bit of what John said, because it's an interesting time in your life when you reach that age that some of the memories that you have start making sense. So my mom is amazing. She was a wonderful mom, but I realized at some point as I was starting to have a lot of fun in my life, in my adult life, that I can remember times, and I came to realize that my mom could party pretty good too. So there was one time where we went out to the desert, like my dad said. We had some motorcycles, and we'd like to go out to the desert with a bunch of other families, and we would drive out and just kind of circle the wagons. And it was really cool because we'd have a big flyer in the center and a bunch of families. And as kids, we really loved it because I think our parents figured we've taken them so far out in the middle of nowhere, like they can't possibly hurt themselves out here. So they take their eyes off us a little bit, and we could just relax, and we had our fun, and the parents were having the parents' fun. But I remember one time, particularly, we got there late on a Friday night, and I had a buddy of mine, Aaron, who was about my age, another family, and I don't remember exactly how it got to this point, but my mom had, for some reason, told him he was putting his boots on. He was getting ready to ride, and we didn't ride at night when we got there on Friday. It was late Friday night, and she was just forcing him to put his boots on, and I was like, gosh, I don't really know why, but all I remember, I'm at a bit of a disadvantage. I don't keep a lot of stories in my head. I keep little snippets of stories, but I just remember her screaming at him, bite the bullet, because she was pulling the straps for him, if you've ever seen like motocross boots and stuff. She's like, bite the bullet, and she was just having the best time, and I was like, whatever, put boots on, I don't care. But then when I put the pieces together, the best part was that I couldn't understand why my mom wanted to stay in the trailer with all the windows shut, drinking root beer until like 4 in the afternoon the next day. And so, put the puzzle pieces together. Mom had one hell of a Friday night. And she was working it off on Saturday. So, but there were some stories like that in Westminster as well. There'd be block parties. And when you're a kid and you hear all the adults get excited because Walt's making a big batch of skip and go naked. And you're like, well, I don't know why that's exciting. But you figure it out later on. But anyways, my mom was great.
My name is Donetta, and I've had the pleasure of working with Carrie for this would have been our 8th year as the principal here, and then she was my sidekick as the CT administrator the last few years. And I did not have the pleasure of knowing this amazing human being, Pam. It's sure awesome to hear all these lovely stories. I had a few interactions as they would be in helping Carrie in her classroom, and they would pop in here and there in the office, and then Carrie's dad did a little bit of carpentry work for me when I remodeled the bathroom. But I do want to tell you this, is that what a great product you put out. This is my 31st year in education, and I've been in about 10 buildings, pre-K through 12th. And there aren't very many human beings like Carrie's top. And I just want to tell you that Pam should be very, very proud, because Carrie is the glue. As this family must know, that Carrie she's the person. She's that person who gets it done, who has the Google Sheets, who arranges all this stuff. And we got along great because I'm not creative. I can beg, borrow, and steal, but I don't have this artistic side. And so it was great that Carrie was balanced with that. But let me tell you, if you need something done, Carrie's going to be the one to do it. And I'm going to be really sad to not work with her side by side, but I have a friend for life. And I just want to thank you for such an amazing human being that I got to be a part of for the last 8 years.
You know, they say the mark of a good leader is to surround yourself with people who have skills that you don't. So if I am guilty of anything, it is that. I surround myself with people who have skills that balance mine, and that's where y'all come in. Mom trained us well. I can say that for sure. She trained many of us. And so following in her footsteps is an honor, a privilege, and a pain in the you-know-what. So thank you. Thank you all for your kind words. Thank you all for your stories, your laughter, your tears, because Mom would love this. And I appreciate you all tremendously. Got some? Well, I was just going to tell them they could hang out for a little bit before we're going to shut her down so that we can go visit Mom in her resting place.
I left my tissue over there.
I just want you to know that, uh-oh, here it comes.
Thanks, man.
I'm not sure all of this would happen without her.
Oh, I'm sure.
She would contact me and say, okay, this is what you have to do, this is when you have to do it, and you have to write a check for it. And so I followed her direction, pretty close.
I did ask you if it was okay.
At a moment when I wasn't even home. But that's my fault, not her.
Oh.
She did a terrific job. You're all here because of all the hard work she did, and
Well, we did.
Very appreciative. Thank you so much.
Okay, so there is more food, there are more drinks, and thank you all for being here. Again, there's little crafties on the table, so if you'd like to take a little crafty with you, you're certainly welcome to, but this concludes the formal program. So enjoy. Thank you.